Hello! We're the Bloodthirsty Puppets. This is Monday Night's Get Nuked. I am thirsty. I will be PMing tonight. We have some very simple rules for chat. Do not be a tool about someone's race. Do not be a tool about someone's gender. Do not be a tool. Just don't. Don't do it. Or a screwdriver. Or a spanner. Or any kind of steam-operated, heavy machinery. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. I will ban you and you will go away. So, today, on lighter note, we will be playing Rotten Under Ooze Town with our wonderful people who are all down there. So, wonderful people, who are you? We'll start with the person who's just there. Hello, Spanners.
Hello. I am playing Timmy. I have spent some time with the Salties, and last week we discovered my old friends after a fun-packed 3-meter walk. But I did get a hat.
Yes, for those who needed a little bit of context on that, the walk they actually undertook is probably no more than the work of 10 or 15 minutes over the course of a few hours. They met some wonderful people, like Tom in the oddity shop, or at least you assume it was Tom because you never asked his name. And Zeke met a absolutely wonderful, very striking fellow with an enormous moustache and not a lot else. You paid a slave in cash and he ran away. And you acquired a kebab cart, as I seem to remember. So I just thought that literally just reoccurred to me. So, is there anything else to add? Can anyone else think of anything that happened last time? Because if you don't think of it now, it probably won't have happened.
Well, we have a decapitated head, and we've kept Roger with us. He was quite helpful in the shop.
So, yes.
We acquired a few bottles of strangely scented water.
Yes, we did.
Indeed, you did. From Tom. From Tom, the very strange fellow.
Assumedly Tom.
Well, from maybe Tom, the strange fellow in the shop marked Tom's Oddity Shop. And, and Zeke has a token from Bungo's Boy House. Because, wow. Apparently you just didn't resist Bungo's Boy's charms fervently enough. You said no, you said that you weren't interested, you pushed them away, and still you received a token. Yeah, so a forceful sales pitch. Or possibly sexual harassment. We'll never know. So, we rejoin our wonderful people. And we shall have to know the other two's names now, because I've rolled on a little too far. So, Lilth, who will you be playing?
I will be playing Anita, who is a rotter with an interesting past that involves selling drugs. And possibly pretending to be a doctor, maybe.
A doctor that hates sex workers at that.
He doesn't hate sex workers.
Well, it depends. If it's a generalised distaste for all of humanity, or a specific one for people stupid enough to come to her, or if it's just like, if you need something from me, then screw you. I'll sell you whatever I can.
It might be that one.
Well,
it might not.
So, in fact, you're a drug dealer who looks down on people who take drugs.
Maybe.
Doesn't sound entirely unusual. The real question is, does she get high on her own supply?
No.
Ooh. In it for the business.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. So yes, we have in it for the business, looks down on sex workers, despises people in general, looks down on everyone who needs help. A cold, unfeeling, rotten old woman. Who's probably lovely, but hey. And next we have Ivor. Who are you playing?
I'll be playing Zeke. the human wanderer on the never-ending quest to find Herbert's the Scuzzle, and hopefully finding something to do with this kebab cart I seem to have acquired somehow for the grand total of 2 tack, I think it was.
I believe it was. Yes. So yes, you are on your never-ending quest to find Herbert, your hat. In case anyone missed that thing that I was hoping was going to be a subtle detail of your background that we'd weave in later that you announced in the first session. Anyway, so we're now to circle back to the intro that I almost started before realising I got ahead of myself. We join our little merry crew and Jerry and the kebab cart and Roger the Head at the entrance to the Salties Enclave in the port of Ooze Town. And I seem to recall the gates have just been opened, and a rather impressive woman in a large coat has just shouted something to the tune, because I honestly cannot remember. Something to the tune of, "Timmy, what the hell are you doing back here?"
That's right, she did. And I think at that point we got, all right, I just brought my friends here. We've brought something we think you might like.
Like? What could it be?
Well, you know your friend who used to work on the boats, and Roger, I think his name was. Roger, he well...
Here, Roger the cabin boy?
I suppose that's one way you could put it. Well, you see, he's been rather missing for a while, hasn't he?
How do you know about that?
Well, we sort of found something of his. We thought you might like it back.
Found something? But you left everything here.
It definitely belongs to him.
Oh. Well, then you better come in here.
You alright to bring my friends?
Yeah, but... Yeah, why not? Let's go.
They're alright. They ain't got nothing with them. They might be helpful for you.
What's wrong with the tall one? Just pointing at Zeke. He's covered in flaky mud and scented water.
Well, he was rather he had a bit of an accident helping Roger retrieve his possessions.
Okay. Well, come on in. We'll just pop in the office. And Morgan, whose voice I've butchered, turns around and heads off to what is quite clearly a beached ship.
Okay, and I walk after her and beckon to the others to follow.
Well,
I will follow with the cart as far as the cart will go, and then sort of work out whether or not I can get it further into the ship.
Well, yeah, you can. So you head off. What about Anita? What's Anita doing?
Anita has a quick look round and then follows.
Okay, right. So as you head into the Salties Enclave, the gates are quite quickly closed behind you. They don't want any other riffraff wandering in. And after a few moments, it occurs to you you're not on land anymore, or at least not the way the Salties look at it. You know, there are clearly gaps between planks that you're walking on now. You can see straight down at water periodically. You know, there might be little sandbars or rocks, but mainly this is sea as far as they see it. This boat where the office, as they called it, is, it's quite clearly been rammed into a large rock at some point, and it's sort of like a tug. So it's got like a sort of a large central large cabin sort of bit standing on it, and they've built onto it. It's essentially a small house now, standing on top of the hull of a boat. And Morgan, Shawford hops across, in that way that you see pirates in films do, just completely disregards like the 4-foot gap, and just hops across lightly, steps down off the rail onto the deck and keeps going. Meat carts, on the other hand, aren't quite so good at that, so you might have to come to a decision at some point. But yeah, Timmy, you've been here before. I mean, it's quite a while ago. You sort of really got in amongst these guys, and you're kind of racking your brains as to why you were supposed to not be let in. Anita, this is completely alien to you. Zeke, I'm not sure how you got down here. You may have dealt with salties before, but when they have to come on land, they build piers, and they live near the land, and they often these settlements are treated like large ships, and they have a captain, and a crew, and people come in and dock and they leave. But this is a ship to the salties, so don't expect them to be lenient if you fuck about. If you break something or hurt someone, they don't mind throwing you overboard, or tying something heavy to you and chucking you in the sea. So yes, here you are. You're wandering over to a boat. Big ass holes in this decking underneath you, and you've got a heavy meat cut, a scuzzle, and probably a pocket full of drugs that you might want to sell. Who knows?
Let me just check, because what I would like to do, if there's little to no chance of me getting it over this 4-foot gap, I want to find something that I can sort of carve the name Zeke, or as close an approximation of the word Zeke, into the side of this cart that I can. Over the top of the name that's already on there. I think it was Bert's.
It was Bert's Street Meats. But we must recall that Zeke is illiterate.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, the closest approximation.
So exactly what is Zeke's approximation of the name Zeke? Is it a Z? Are you going to Zorro on this bitch?
I don't think it's even that. I think it's just it's more likely an X.
It's an N.
Do you just get a piece of chalk out and draw around your hand?
Yeah, I think it'd just be a piece of chalk to then draw just a plain X straight across where it says Bert's, and then sort of go, that'll do, and make the hop over.
Okay, before you make the hop, take a knowledge check. Throw a knowledge for me. Everyone else can if they want. Those who are skilled in barter could try barter instead.
That is a 12 on the dice.
A 12 on the dice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Total of...
Oh, that's cool. You got 12 on the dice, you crit. You understand fully that most people would take this to mean free to collector. You've essentially just crossed out the name of the owner. This doesn't mean it's mine. This means it's no longer theirs. Yeah. But you realise this while hopping onto the boat. And you go, oh, fuck. But with this spark of inspiration, you may have thought to take the meat with you if you want.
Yeah, I think I would.
You've pocketed the meat, left the cart, and if it's still here when I come back, yeah.
Yeah, all I was mainly after in this transaction was the meat to begin with, and potentially the bottle of dandelion and burdock. But
well, you have left the bottle of dandelion and burdock, but you have pocketed the meat. Okay. How much of the meat will be left, being that you've chucked it in a bag with Jerry, is another question. But
he's angry already.
Yeah, he was already angry being stuffed in the bag. So
maybe this can be a peace offering.
That's a pretty damn good peace offering. even if Jerry's like the size of a large house cat, like you've just offered him like 20 kebabs. No. It's probably going to be good for him. He'll definitely be larger than the average house cat afterwards. He might be verging on spaniel size, but hey, let's see. Anyway, so yeah, you've hopped in. Everyone else, are you just hopping on over, following? Are you going to look around? Are you going to go, hey, there's something to steal, there's something to sell, there's something to buy? Ooh.
I'm going to have a look around because if I've never been here, I want to know what's what. So I want to have a look around before I jump across, just to glance around.
Are you going to be looking for anything in particular? You know, or are you just plain glancing around?
Just glancing around.
Okay. And just throw me a straight perception.
Perception is... Where's it gone? That's a non-crit 12.
Okay. Yeah. You glance around. You see a fair few people sort of milling about, fixing things. It seems you see a lot of little different ship tattoos of people out and about. They don't seem to put an awful lot of emphasis on wearing clothes. Probably because they've actually got some shelter here, unlike normally out on a boat. It's like they regard this as a nice warm holiday. You see a lot of ship tattoos. A lot of people you see here seem to be doing sort of general maintenance-y work. And a lot of them are quite skinny, like ropey people. And from that, being a sort of a person on the verge of medical practice, you take it to mean that salties eat literally enough their whole lives. Those lucky bastards. Just enough, but enough. And as such, they may be freakishly strong by the standards of people who live on the land and eat maybe enough sometimes. Yes, you walk around and you're sort of like, these people are surprisingly well built and they all seem to be busy. What the hell? Everyone in the town is laying around doing fuck all, overweight or starving. Not much middle ground. But yes, you think it might be a good market for selling bullshit vitamin supplements and things. These people seem to be quite up on that sort of thing. You see a bit of bow-leggedness. It's hard to get milk out at sea. But anyway, they've got plenty of vitamin D but no calcium. Right, so you wander through. You see that Zeke thinks to grab the meat. What does Timmy do? Timmy
is looking around to see if there's anybody else that she recognises, so she can work out why they dumped her on the land.
So are you specifically looking for your old shipmates, or anyone you've recognised from all of your time in the Salties, including times here and other ports?
Shipmates specifically.
Shipmates specifically. Give me a decent perception then. If you think they might be trying to avoid you, you could add your sneak. But
I don't know how sneaky am I? Let's have a look. I am not very sneaky. I'm just gonna have a look. Have a look at it. Probably quite loudly. Oh crap! So I botched.
You botch.
So I drink and I do not know things.
Yeah, you're absolutely sure that your old mate Derek was over there. But when you look back, there's no one there. You're absolutely sure he was there. You're kind of annoyed that he must have run away. And then when you look away, you're pretty sure you see him over there as well. In fact, everywhere you look, someone who looks a bit like Derek, and by the end you're pretty sure that it's only people who look a bit like him. But that first time you were really sure, you were quite angry in the moment. Oh, that bastard, how dare he run up... Oh, actually. Oh. Huh. It turns out looks like Derek was just a haircut, and apparently it's quite popular. So yeah, you by the time you get to the office, your You're a little confused, but you haven't seen anyone you know.
Fair enough.
Yes, you step into the office. All of you, I assume. You know,
Yep.
unless you want to,
Yep.
unless you really, really want to, to perform some kind of check to hop across a 4-foot chasm.
Nah.
No, don't want to check against falling into the sea. Okay, fair enough. Does anyone grab the bottle of dandelion and burdock?
Yeah, I probably would.
To be fair, you did make a bit of a big deal about it last time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see that Zeke's left it, and you slyly pocket it.
Yeah.
Give me a sneak. See how slyly you pocket this. Yeah,
This is not going to go well.
If Zeke's hopped across and turned around to offer you a hand over, and he sees you slipping something into your pocket, he's like, "Huh."
That's an 8.
It's an 8.
It's an 8.
Yeah, you telegraph this. You're like, haha, yoink. But whether Zeke's seen it or not is another thing. That we'll deal with later. But yeah, you hop across into this ship, this beached ship. Morgan's left the door open. She's just strolled right in, kicked the door open, and walked in. And by the time you head in there, she's already sitting down, and around her is just, well, most people would consider it treasure. Glorious treasures of the ancient past. To the modern eye, it looks like junk. Lots of junk, sometimes shiny junk. She has like an old Mark 40, diving helmet, a brass one, on a little plinth. She has a cannon that's got some concrete on it that's pretty been pulled out of a wall or off of some tourist attraction somewhere. She's got all sorts of shit. Road signs, bits of boat, and all sorts of wonderful things. And she's sitting there, quite proud, surrounded by these things. At this point, you notice that she's wearing a leg brace, and she's sitting there with her leg up on the desk. And you notice there's a big old leg brace on it, and you're not entirely sure whether the foot is real or not, but there's definitely a brace around the knee, sort of onto the lower leg. Yeah.
I would like to. I think Zeke would lean forward and sort of go, "The name's Zeke. Nice to meet you," and extend a hand.
I'm sure it is. She doesn't take that. You notice that she's a little cagey around you, really. She notably doesn't extend a hand towards you at all. If anything, she slightly flinches away from it. Yeah, you notice that this woman is, because I'm not sure we got onto much about how this woman looked, and I cannot remember from the original game how she looked. So I'm going to retcon this. She is now an older woman, probably in her early 50s. She has some streaks of grey in her hair. It's sort of indeterminate colour. Streaks of grey. She's sort of careworn, heavily tanned. Yes. The hair is very much sort of braided together in a very thick rope that sort of sticks straight back from the head. Sort of a docking cable type fashion. You notice that, under her large and impressive coat, the clothing doesn't appear to cover an awful lot. There's a lot of clothing, though. There's lots of bits of clothing. So there's sort of a wide belt and a short shirt and something around the shoulders. It approximates something near to armour. But it's made of a number of small garments that alone would be considered skimpy. But together form almost an entire suit of armour. you know, it's quite the one quite noticeable exception to this is her legs. Her legs are solidly clad in dark cloth, and obviously she has this brace on, and she has a very large heavy boots on because what's life without stompy boots? She sits there and she just I don't know what that was. All right, yeah. She sits there and she points to Timmy and she's just like, "So what you doing here? What you got of Rogers? What's going on?"
Well, you've got to you've got to promise me that you're not going to get mad.
I don't know if I can promise that.
I see. I don't think I want to fucking give you the thing then. You know, you want this back, you've got to give me your word that you are going to stay calm.
The leg comes off the table. She sits forward, puts an elbow on the table, stares you dead in the eyes and says, "Calm. I can do that." And the doors shut. Someone clearly locks them from the outside. I'm calm.
Right then. And Timmy's going to square up over the other side of the table. Put her feet firmly on the floor, just in case. And she's going to reach into her coat and go, "Look, there's someone out there who doesn't like you lot. And they seem to have left us, say, a message." I'm going to take Roger's head and just put it my side of the table.
Yeah. Okay. So you plonk this head down on a bowl of fruit on your end of the table, nested among grapes. Boom. Shit. We were wondering what happened then. You didn't see any more of him, yeah?
There are other pieces. They weren't his. But I've looked at this head, and there's something that ain't right about this. You look at his ears, and this happened before he died.
Sure enough, she takes the head and turns it in her hands. What's this on the back? If you recall, there are a series of large chopping wounds on the back of the head.
Yes.
What the fuck did that?
Well, it ain't anything to do with us, but if you look at it, it looks like that's happened afterwards. It don't look like that's how he died. It's almost like someone's left their mark. Well, you don't suppose you know anyone that's upset you?
Well, right now, you got me quite upset. You come into my office, you threaten me, you give me the head of a dead friend.
We're not threatening you, we're trying to help. We fished him out the river for you. Others wanted to throw him back, not these guys, but the other people in the village, you know. They would have just left him in the river.
Fished him out. How happened to him?
That's why he looks like he does. And smells like he does too.
Yeah. Right. So, you looking into this, or is that it?
Well, we want to see you first, see what you want to do.
Well, we might be able to throw a bit of work your way. We're always looking for people who can do a bit of good on land.
Oh, that we can do. Maybe you can give us a hand with a few of the things that we need to do.
Fair. So, you can trust these, can you?
I think so. You know, as long as you don't want much medical attention or anyone that smells nice, you know. They're hard workers and, you know, they helped Roger. Not as much as maybe we could have if we'd found him earlier, but looks to me like we were several weeks too late.
Well, you see, we can trust the demons of the land, then okay. Now listen up, you. Points Zeke and Anita. What we say in here, don't go outside. You breathe a word of it, it's your heads. Breathe two. It's more. It's worse. Worse than your head. Think about it. I don't know if you think about it. I've thought about it. We've been having a bit of trouble with a fella called Al. Big Al. Man on the hill. He wants to hire Salties. Take him on. He wants Rust Masters to go and fix something. I'm sorry about the accent, it's going all over the place.
You're worse than me.
I know, today it's terrible. I'm just lucky he hasn't ended up South African. Can if you want, I can go there. But yeah, I think I'm gonna drop the accent. It's just I can't do it today. To be fair, it was enough of a stretch doing a woman with a man's voice anyway. So yeah. So Al, wants Rustmasters up on the hill, and you know, some say yes and they don't come back. We wouldn't let them back, but no one sees them.
Do you know, I think we can maybe shed some light on that.
Yeah.
We might have found another one of your friends in one of the taverns. There's a pub up the hill. Looks like they had a bit of an argument.
Was he okay? What happened to him?
No, he wasn't okay. He was at pace. He was at pace. He was certainly holy.
Get one. So you weren't okay then? You were gone. You were dead.
You were gone.
Oh.
You were gone before we got there. There was some fat bloke there.
We're at Bell.
Don't know. I don't think we asked his name.
I think you did actually.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm not writing down names that haven't been said. I got it here. But yeah, there's been a fella called Bill coming down and asking for it too. So well, naturally, all the salties I talked to said no. But we've been having some troubles with them sneaking off. Naturally, we assume that they just nipped off for the mud side. It's a bit too much for some of them. You know, they like to jump ship. So we could safely say that if you would look into the fella on the hill, we could help you out.
I do believe we were off that way ourselves.
Well then, what's your plan?
I think Zeke here had some business with him.
was talking to Jim in the bleed up in town, and he said you might know a way to get into the castle when they don't quite want you there.
There's a way.
So I was looking to go and have a few words with him about a missing friend of mine.
Missing friend, you say? Well, that sounds like him, doesn't it? So we might be lining up here. So if we were to give you away up to the fort, we'd be putting ourselves in danger, wouldn't we? We'd be, endangering our standing in the town. It couldn't be known that we'd betrayed him.
I wouldn't call it betrayal. You're just showing us an entrance.
A secret entrance.
I suppose, you've got Roger here, and maybe we took that information out of him. And maybe you could use that head to say, you found this, and he's clearly been tortured.
Tell you what. You bring me that bill. That fat bugger. We'll get you in. No one's seen Al outside the fort in, well, a long time. But Bill,
How talkative do you want him to be?
breathing?
Just breathing?
Well, long as he can tell us where they've gone, don't give a fuck.
Sure, he can do something.
Limbs
about
optional, shall we say? Limbs optional.
Well, that's good to know. He's a bit heavy to carry here in his full stature.
That would be true. He's not a light lad. No twinkle toes.
Right.
In fact, if you recall, there's a certain amount of doubt on whether Big Bill can actually walk unaided, or at all. I seem to recall there was a screw, a nail rammed into his leg that he didn't feel.
I think he felt it. He was just a bit busy crying.
Yeah. Was he crying because he had a nail in his leg, or was he crying because he was terrified?
Or both.
Yes, we shall see. But yes, the offer has been made. You bring me Bill, and we'll get you in.
Right then. I don't suppose I could keep that head, could I? It's coming rather useful.
I don't know about that. It belongs to the family. It belongs to the boat.
We'll bring him back. It's just, maybe Bill might need a bit of persuading.
Tell you what. At this point, Morgan pulls out the biggest, shiniest, most god-awful, terrifying knife you've ever seen. And slashes off one of the ears. He's just like, show him that. Not many of you won't be shaded up by an ear. You only come with two.
And Timmy's going to take it and go, thank you very much. And she's going to just put it in her little top pocket so it sticks out like a handkerchief.
Oh god. Necrotic pocket square. Lovely. Yeah, so this enormous cleaver of a knife has chopped off a fair chunk of the surround of the ear also, and sort of Everything sort of back of the jawbone. You know, it's just short of actual chunks of skull. Yes, you now have an ear as opposed to Roger the head, which is a sad moment for everyone. But hey,
I'll find a new one.
yeah. Being that now you don't have the wounds to examine. Yeah. At this point, yeah, Morgan sits down. She's having another look at those wounds on the back of the head. She's like, that looks awful familiar. I'll have to talk about the lads with that. Yeah. And she puts the head in a box. Yeah. Like a small wooden box. Which is something, because, obviously wood comes from the land. Salties look after wood. Yeah. Puts it in a box. And it's almost perfectly head-sized, this box. Get the impression that it might have been used for this before. It might not, who knows, but hey. So yeah, you've struck a deal with the Salt Captain of the Ooze Town Enclave to abduct a morbidly fat man who's already shat himself in your presence and cried.
Should make it easier.
Yeah, maybe. Unless he's tripled his guard and had a shower. Because that would just be the pits, wouldn't it? You hunt him down a day later and he still stinks. Or he's having a bath. Please, God, let me be clean. So yes, what do you do now? You're in the Salties Enclave, which is a rare and wonderful thing for most of you. You're surrounded by exotic bullshit that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. Normally, only traders are let in. You're gonna go and check on your cart. Mm-hmm. Your cart's missing most of the panel work. The heating element. I think it was a coal. It was a coal-fired thing. I think, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, it was a kitchen sink. That was it. It was a kitchen sink with some boards on it. Yeah, the boards are gone. The taps are gone. The draining board's been sort of levered off. Someone's pulled it up and down until it snapped. You're left with just a sink. A sink with wheels. Yeah. Full of burnt rubbish, basically. With a little. Even the grill is gone. Someone's gone, I could use that, reinforcing a window. Or maybe they've attached it to the outer wall or something. Who knows? But yes. The grill is gone, the side panels are gone. Fuck it, one of the wheels is gone. Oh, just the tyre. Why not? So yes, your cart is now a sink with a wheel. And handles. It's got handles still. So, valuable. What do you do? Here's a slew of description. What are you doing with the world?
I think I'll try and pry the last tire off as everything else is gone. Might be worth something to someone.
Yeah, I mean, super cool. You've got a cricket bat, so you've got something to hold it steady and lever. Yeah, you pry the, sort of a, one of those crappy little elastic band wheels that they put on a wheelbarrow. The ones that are this thick, just like a band of rubber. It's badly weathered. It's got flaky in places, but yeah, you've got a little, an overgrown polo mint made of black rubber. Huzzah!
Is there anyone that looks like they're open for trading?
Yes. By the entrance, as you are by the entrance of the Enclave, basically anyone who's got anything to sell is here. Occasionally they open the gates and let trusted traders in order to get things they need. Obviously they trade amongst themselves also. But yeah, there are probably 5 or 6 people up at this sort of point in the morning. 'Cause it's still sort of the early morning. Well, that's what I say. It's the early morning for here. These people, it's probably late afternoon. But yeah, some of them have gone off to have some lunch at this point. But
mostly what I'm looking for is someone with a big pile of crap that this tire would not like be out of place for someone that go, yeah, I can use that.
Well, you, the one closest to the gate is a man with a collection of large bags. They all look to be sort of waxed fabric. On closer inspection, he actually does genuinely have an enormous stack of crap that he's selling as fertilizer. He appears to be interested in anything that might be useful. Really, he looks at this rubber tire that you're holding. And we could use that for. He doesn't really elaborate. He sort of mutters. He turns to one of the people he has carrying literal sacks of crap, and we could use that. It's like, yeah, we could use that. Cinch the tops of the bags in. Yeah, that'd be great. It's waterproof as well. Oh, that's great. It'd be very handy. So, how many bags you want?
The smell's not really going to change much from the way I am right now.
No, it's best dried feces, sun dried. So it's you can use it. You can hydrate it. Use it as fertilizer. You can burn it. You can fuck it. You can daub it on the outside of a building. Use it as insulation. Throw it at your enemies. I don't give a shit. Well, I suppose I do, but only if you pay me. Or are you looking for specialty merchandise?
I'd see what's under the counter.
Yeah, you. He literally steps back and shows you what's under the counter. What is under the counter is a jar of liquid that's very, 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 very pale yellow. And there's a thick layer of like whitish sediment at the bottom. And he says, "Now this is a glow jar. You know what glow jars out on the land, do you, boy?"
Would I know what one of these was?
No. You wouldn't have a fucking clue. By the way, it smells terrible.
Is it just like open tops and everything?
No. It's closed, but it smells terrible. Even over the large stack of drying shit, it smells bad. It smells sharp and acrid.
So,
special this. You
say,
don't get many of these.
Say if I was interested, what's it used for?
It's for glowing.
For glowing, you say?
Yeah. It's for glowing. It's got what do they call it? It's got phosphor in it. Phosphor.
Yeah, I'll trade you the tire for that jar. Got a friend that might be able to make something interesting out of it.
All right. So that for the rubber wheel, yeah?
Yeah. It's not like I'm taking it anywhere else.
Okay. And he hands you a large mason jar. Like, a big jar. Like, in fact, saying a mason jar is probably a little too simple. It's kind of one of the ones you get to keep spaghetti in. It's got like the swing top. It's about the width of a pint glass.
Okay. I'll hand in the tire and then look around to see whether I can notice where Anita is.
Where are you, Anita?
I would be perusing the merchants to see what they've got.
Okay. Yeah, the merchants have an array of stuff. They've got things that are clearly dredged up from the seabed, things that are clearly sort of washed down river, bits of old tech, bits of cars, braided up ropes, lengths of chain, basic sort of mechanical components that would be sort of. It just turns out they didn't need. They might have traded for them or arrived here to get them from someone they'd arranged to trade with. There are these large bottles of something they only refer to as fuel. They don't elaborate. You see more of these jars, but when you point at them and sort of ask what the hell's going on with those, you're informed they aren't ready. You need to go and you need to go and talk to Randall. They point to the dude with the large pile of sacks. Apparently, Randall the shit salesman is the one for the jars. Yes. So yeah, So Randall's the one for the jars. They've got all kinds of old stuff. Nothing overly medicinal. A few of them are selling weird herbal tinctures and things. Some homemade sunblock. All kinds of shit like that. There's, it's probably like zinc oxide powder. Christ, I knows. All kinds of stuff. It might work, it might not. They claim it does. You notice that the bloke trying to sell this stuff does noticeably have large white patches on his skin. Like in the shape of handprints and things. He's like, look, it works! And stands out there for the day. Like the rest of the lobsters, he's got a big white handprint on his head. It looks like he's got the mark of Saruman. But yeah, that's the extent of it from what you can see. Really, he's got if you're looking for anything in particular, you could have a proper dig in some of these piles. But these are proper junk stalls with piles of stuff on.
Yeah. Anita's not really interested in that sort of thing, I think. So.
If I've spotted Anita, can I go behind her but make a stealth check at the same time?
Yes.
To appear light on my feet behind her without her having noticed.
Yeah, that's pretty much literally what a stealth check's for. Yeah.
3 plus 5, 8.
8. Yeah, you stealth in such a way that in the way that a small child sneaks up on a parent in a supermarket. When they breathe loudly through a smile. I'm gonna trick you. You can't see me. Maybe you've even got your eyes closed in the belief that if they can't see me, that if I can't see them, they can't see me. In a marketplace setting, here with the gulls and the water, it's not pitiful. But being that Anita is actively looking around trying to see things, trying to find anything of value in this pile of junk, and having been that the only person she actually genuinely talked to pointed her in your direction, Like, she sees you attempting to Lightfoot across. You know, I don't know if you were attempting like some kind of social stealth, but you know, you've just walked along like with the arms up on pinkies, you know, on like tippy toes. You know, which is a bit of a bad idea considering you're walking on like a loose plank pier. But yeah, you get there. You know, there are probably some stall holders who haven't noticed you've moved, but Anita watched you walk over.
So that's a try.
So you have arrived over by Anita. There is a stall holder. Probably attempting still to talk her into buying something. So you, big man, what can I do for you? We got all sorts of stuff. Look at this stuff. Look at that stuff. He pulls out some like rusted rubbish, you know. Pulls out something that's like quite clearly like a big old reaping hook that's covered in rust and the end snapped off. And he's like, look, it's amazing. You know, he pulls out something that looks like an extended corkscrew. You know, it's probably some sort of farming equipment. Who knows?
I'm just here for my friend there.
No, well, you know, bloody landers, you know, mudsiders. Coming to the market just to chat with their friends.
Got something you might be interested in it from that stall over there.
Oh yeah.
Pull out this glowing. Was it a glowing jar?
A glow jar.
Glow jar. Thought you might be interested in whatever's in here. Smells sort of like the stuff you deal in.
Okay. She'll take it and have a look and then give Zeke a really crappy look that he thinks that this is the sort of smell that I deal with.
Okay. Well, yeah, you get handed this jar of stuff. It's a jar of stuff that smells awful. In what manner are you going to attempt to ascertain its value, what it is?
That's a good question. She's probably going to give it a quick shake carefully to make sure that nothing comes out, just to see.
Okay.
Just a gentle.
Has Zeke mentioned the name?
No.
Okay.
I think he would have immediately forgotten it as soon as the trader told him what it was.
Okay. Just Anita can attempt whatever she's going to attempt, but while that's happening, we'll step to one side. What's Timmy making of all this? Timmy, you know what a gloger is.
Timmy's going to just raise her eyebrows and just start to step backwards a little bit, because I don't think you want to be shaking that. And she's just going to be trying to desperately make eye contact and going. And as she keeps stepping back, because she's seen people mess with this stuff before, and knows that those that shake the glow jars generally don't have things to shake them with for much longer.
That can be a side effect, yes. It's not the stated intent of a glow jar, but it can happen. But yes, you're standing here holding. Wait, what was Anita doing to try and ascertain the purpose of a glow jar?
Would she have seen Timmy shaking her head?
It depends how intently Timmy has noticed you doing this, being that she didn't pick up on Zeke walking around and talking.
She'll probably kind of hold it up, look at it, look around, and then go to start shaking it and see Timmy backing up.
Okay. Give me any kind of roll. Propose me a roll for this. For this process of ascertaining information.
Probably knowledge,
Yeah.
because
You are some manner of chemist.
yeah, and she might have a bit of knowledge about explosives as well, a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I think knowledge.
Yep. Roll it up. Give it a go.
That is a 12.
Excellent. You have ascertained from the smell and the general setup that this is essentially it's a jar of fermented piss with some shit in it. And what they've done is they've essentially attempted to distill the phosphorus out of piss so it glows. And if you shake it a bit, it glows. If you shake it too much, it explodes.
Yeah.
Or rather, it releases a large amount of gas which bursts the jar.
Yeah.
And then you explode phosphorus to oxygen and moisture,
Yeah.
which is less than fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's fire, there's explosions, it's unpleasant.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah. But, if you were to introduce someone to a fiery explosion full of piss and shit, and you didn't like them, maybe it would be your perfect afternoon. You know what? I don't like you.
Tempting.
Yes, you have a glowing phosphorescent jar full of chemically altered body waste.
She's gonna very carefully, when she realizes what it is, try and work out how she can carry it without shaking it too much.
Well, a little casual agitation probably wouldn't worry it too much. Too much. In fact, that rubber tie would have been a really handy seal for this.
She is going to thank Zeke and very gingerly put it in her bag.
Okay.
Because
Fair
she doesn't
enough.
know where else to put it. And then she's going to be very, very careful with her bag.
Okay, fair enough. So, yes, you have attained a glow jar. You have attained a working knowledge of salty feces salesman. And you have roundly ignored the one with the previous experience of what these things were, because she didn't think to speak out loud.
Would there be somebody around sort of in the salty area that would sell sort of tailoring equipment?
Yes, almost definitely.
And would I know where they are?
They wouldn't be hard to find.
Okay.
What kind of tailoring equipment are you looking for?
I am looking for a needle and thread.
Enormously easy. Basically anywhere where there's a noticeable gap in the planking, there would probably be someone trying to fish with a net. And these people who are fishing with nets often also, hop out on little dinghies and try and fish in the sea, and would have things to repair sails with, and yarn and threads and things like that to repair nets with.
Excellent. Okay. In which case, I'd like to find somebody who would be willing to trade in exchange for a needle and thread.
Yeah, it doesn't take you very long at all. You sort of head towards the nearest edge, basically. Yeah, why not? It takes you a little away from the others, but you wander off. You vanish into a sea of salties, as far as they're concerned. Yeah. You still dress quite like a salty as well, which doesn't help them differentiating you from the crowd. Yes, you vanish off into this sort of patchily clad cloud of well-tanned people, and you amble off, and you see there's a little old fella sitting with a much younger boy and a little girl, sort of on a small pile of broken crates, and they appear to be fixing a net. And there's a little boat with a little sail, probably big enough for one of the children to sail in. which quite clearly has sails that have been patched.
Okay. So I'm going to go up to one of the children. And what are you doing down there?
I'm fixing the nets with my granddad.
That's very neat sewing. Are those stitches yours?
No, the good ones, they're granddad's.
I
These are my
see.
ones. And she points at a portion of a patch that she's been trying to make for the sail, and it's fucking atrocious. It's like Frankenstein stitching. You know, and like she's attempting to like do a flourish at the end and sew her name, but like most salties, she's technically literate, but in a number of languages that kind of got mashed into one. So, you know, there are letters that don't exist in the language she's speaking that exist in the language she's attempting to write, and she doesn't really remember them very well. So, her name appears to be Claire, but doesn't have the right number of letters. Or a C. Or a K. You're not entirely sure what that letter is.
Right then. I suppose is that your name?
Yeah, that's mine.
That's your name. I see.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you've got some maybe spare threads and maybe just a little needle? I'd need a really small one.
Grandad only lets me use the big needles. He says the little ones can get lost. And she pulls out this thing, and it's fucking big. It's, you know, it's like half a knitting needle bent. You know, it looks kind of like a surgeon's needle, big like hook. And suddenly you realise why it looks like surgical stitching. Well, you know, I'm not really allowed to give you this. I mean, it's the only one I got.
I see, and
If you ask Dav, he might he's got a spare.
I see, and where's Dav?
Dav, he's just over there on the boat.
Right then, and I wander over to Dav, whose name I know.
Yes. Yes. You go over to Dav. Dav is like a 9-year-old boy. He's a gangly little bugger. Quite tall, but no meat on his bones. He's sort of he's almost too big for this boat. It's a very, very small thing. It's kind of the size of a bath. So it's almost a small canoe with a sail. Get the impression that soon it will be Claire's time to go in the boat because he'll be too big. And the boat at one end is tied to the net, so you get the impression they just sail it out, dangle the net between whoever's on the side and whoever's on the boat. But yeah, he's dicking around. He appears to be like braiding some threads together to make a string for something.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to walk up to him and so, all right, you're Dav?
I'm Dav. Yeah.
Little girl over there, she said you'd have maybe a needle and some thread that maybe you'd be willing to trade for.
We've got needle and thread. Yeah. What should I give you?
Well, I'm looking to trade. We're maybe doing a little bit of work for you guys, but we've got some things that need fixing.
What are you doing for me, Claire and Gramps, then?
Well, not you. You, as in the salty.
That's what you said. You said you.
You guys, as in the group. Oh, you're an odd one. Right then. So, you know, I used to work up on the ships, and I'm doing some work on land.
What ship did you used to work on?
And I turn around and show my shoulder.
Oh. What? That one. I heard that they went missing.
Did they?
Yeah?
Well, I had a bit of an accident, you see, and I woke up here. What happened to them? They were all right, aren't they?
They put the boat over there. And points, and you can quite clearly see a boat that's been winched up out the water with a fucking great big hole in it.
Oh. And they didn't come back with the ship?
Dunno. I don't know.
You
No.
don't talk much to people around here? You haven't seen any of them with the same ship?
Well, the boat folks don't talk much to us on the piers. But when I grow up, I'm going to get on a boat. I'm going to get my tat. I'm going to go. I'm going to leave Claire behind. Claire's like, no, you're not, you little bastard. Yes, I am. You're going to have to stay behind and clean Captain Morgan's shoes. No, I'm not, you screw.
There's nothing wrong with Captain Morgan. She's a good captain. You just look. Now, if you give me a thread, needle, then I can find out what happened to them on their ship, and then maybe I can put a good word in for you and get on a better ship.
Give? I thought we were trading.
Oh, it seems you want to be on a ship. You want to leave that young girl behind. You need someone to put a good word for you.
You ain't on a ship.
No, but I've got my tat. You don't have your tat yet.
But I've only got 8 summers. You're big.
That's right. I am.
What you give me?
At this point, I'm just going to start playing with the ear in my pocket. Think about what I won't give you.
Bloody hell! And he just pushes against the dock, and the boat like floats out. It only floats out like 5 or 6 meters, but it floats away from the dock.
Shit.
It is attached to the dock by a large cable, sort of thing, like with a net hanging off it. But you know, it's a Pyrrhic victory at best. But he has escaped for the time being.
It's still attached.
Oh yeah, of course it is. That's the whole point of the net.
In which case, I'm going to hold on to the net and just drag him very, very slowly backwards and maintain eye contact.
Okay.
So are you going to give me those needles?
This point, you feel a tap on your shoulder. In fact, come to think of it, you may have been feeling a tap on your shoulder for a little while.
So I think I'll probably turn around then.
You notice that there's a rather grizzled older man. His hair's white where he's got it. His teeth are brown where he's got them. What you doing with my boy? What's that you got in your pocket? It's fucking bleeding. What you got in there?
Let's call it a gift.
A gift? You're an
Aye.
oddun. Guys, we got an oddun. Might have wandered off from the market. Some other people. There's quite clearly sort of a mother and father for these children. Maybe an uncle or two. An incredibly burly aunt who comes still holding a bear. What's going on here? Says one of the drunken idiots at the back. You trying to hassle our boy?
Trying to buy something from him. What I want's a needle and thread.
Needle and thread. That's all you want. What are you doing, boy? What are you doing? She's a friend. Look, she's got a tat. What do you think you're doing saying no to someone with a tat on? You dopey. And Yeah, fuck. He picks up a piece of concrete that's quite clearly like, crumbled off the side of the seawall and just throws it in the general vicinity of the boat. It doesn't hit the child, but the splash does, and there's a bit of a sizzle. He's like, Gramps, I didn't mean to do it, Gramps. Don't hit me, don't hurt me. Please get me out. I don't want to go in the water. The little girl pulls him in, like gives him a hug. The mum and dad also rush over and give him a hug. There's some daggers being glared at Grandpa. You notice that the mother has like a number of small like burn marks up one side that quite possibly are caused by similar things occurring in her past. What do you think you're doing, Dad? You can't be going doing things like that. Fine, fuck it. Take the thread, take the needles, get the fuck out of here. Just thrusts like a bundle of thread with like a couple of needles jammed through it. Fuck off, gotta get my house in gear. He picks up his like walking stick, and then conspicuously doesn't use it. Just wades in, waving it over his head. I ought to give that kid more of the say. It devolves into a vaguely Irishy, Somerset-y shouting match, and you're quite clearly no longer welcome.
Fair enough. I pocket the thread. I put the 2 needles through the ear to keep them safe. And wander
Roger.
off.
Poor Roger.
It's pincushion now.
Roger the pincushion. I have to change up my notes now. I've got Roger the head. Now I have to account for what happens to Roger the ear. Roger the ear. Pincushion. Also used to threaten children, apparently. Yes. Child abuse, pincushion.
And I'm the one that doesn't like people.
We never said people specifically, just sex workers.
Yeah. You know, we were just theorising when we said everyone else.
You don't like sex workers. I just threaten small children.
Yeah.
And fat people.
Yeah, but we already knew that Timmy was a sadist.
Yes.
True.
But yes, so you've threatened fat people, you've threatened children,
No one else.
You've attempted to let mudsiders touch a captain of the Salties. You've thrown a friend's head onto a desk. You've stolen their ear and turned it into a pincushion. Is there any crime you won't stoop to?
No.
Okay, fair enough. That makes this game a lot more fun. So yes, you've been given a job. You've been given a job, and apparently you've gathered your odd and peculiar tools. None of you thought to try and search out further weaponry or armour or anything like that, which is cool. I'm fine with that. Or try and sell any of the shit you own for money. But okay, cool. So yes, following the only strangers who are in the compound just caused a fucking domestic. Yeah, it's politely suggested that maybe now would be a time for you to proceed to your lodgings. It's getting towards the afternoon. You might be wanting to go and have some dinner.
Okay, I will take the hint and sort of leaving the sink behind where it now sits forlorn. Head out the front gates.
Before your feet even pass the front gates, one of the junk merchants has the sink. One of the junk merchants has the sink. He unscrews the taps. He takes the rubber washers out. He's like, "Fucking gold dust." He pops the little enamel hot and cold off the top of the taps. He's like, "Oh, can't get these for love nor money." You know. Yeah, he takes the plug chain off. You know, makes it into an attractive bracelet. You know, all these things that you mudsiders wouldn't have thought of. You know, he's probably ringing some decent bank out of that. You just thought it was a broken piece of shit. You know, he takes the bearing for the wheels. You know, a veritable treasure trove. You know, not to mention the sheer weight of metal in that sink. But hey, you know. And everyone else is sitting there, oh, bloody mudsiders, they never cause anything but trouble. Oh, you're fucking hell. And he's like, I don't know, they're alright to me. Yeah. Yeah. You know. And, you know, before long, you know, the gates close once again behind you, and you're left back out with the less scrupulous traders who, you know, just attempt to hoodwink all the cash off the people who've come to trade with the Salties. But yeah. Here you are. The more perceptive you will realise that it's nowhere near dinner time. It's maybe 1:30. You know, they were politely suggesting you fuck off with a flimsy excuse. But yeah, here you are, standing back in Ooze Town, just outside the Merchant's Quarter, at the base of the hill. Where are you going to go from here?
Right, so we need to go find this Bill guy.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm. So,
Seems to me like you had a lot of his boys near the bleed, was it?
Hmm. Yeah.
So someone around there might know.
Well, someone had a chat with Jim and Jimmy.
Yes, they did.
Yes. And
someone is going to head back to the bleed to have another word with Jim and Jimmy.
Excellent.
If we go back into the bleed, do we need to perhaps disguise Zeke? Because last time he was there, they were quite aware of who he was and he might have started to fight.
This is very true. It might be a good idea.
That, and as it is one of the higher class establishments in Ooze Town, it might be worthwhile me getting clean rather than going in smelling as I do.
Yeah. You know, make preparations as you see fit.
Could we use that to our advantage and like dress you up in like some sort of like raggedy stuff, smear a bit more mud and be like, oh, we need to help this poor soul, and get you in that way?
Might work. I'm
Can't
not
hurt.
sure.
Well, whatever you think you may need, I'm not sure how much tack you have left, but you have the entire Merchant's Quarter between here and the bleed. Also between here and the bleed is Madame Nooch's knocking shop.
Yeah, that's another way of looking at it. Do we think that potentially the attractive large post-gen might lend us some clothes?
She might.
There's always a chance.
It's worth a try.
So,
we will go talk to Mary.
Okay, you're going to.
She's been decided.
Are you just making a beeline straight over to Madame Nooch's then? You know, you're passing back through. You know. Oh, I think just as this notion of disguising Zeke has come up. Zeke, how do you feel about disguising yourself? Do you think you need to? Are you averse to the possibility? I mean, the clothes you stand up in have been the clothes you stand up in for quite some time. They virtually stand up on their own. Surely from habit.
So before Anita makes the beeline away, I'll go, I don't see the need for a disguise, really. I was only having a friendly chat and things escalated a little, but it happens.
And you started a fight.
It's just part of the game, isn't it?
Well, you can go in first, and we'll wait out here. If you think it's fine.
Yeah, it'll be all right. As we head back through the merchant quarter to the bleed, I would be quite interested in trying to see if I notice anyone selling, for want of a better word, like something to prevent me from being stabbed and or otherwise injured in the chest region.
So yes, not to use the word armor, but definitely some manner of armor. Okay, yeah. As you're walking back through, well, yeah. I mean, this is the sort of place where you can buy pretty much anything if you've got the money and you've got the time. You can probably find pretty much anything you want. As you're walking through the town, yeah, there you see there's a guy who's quite clearly churning out sort of leather work, and he's churning out like LARP gear, but for want of a better term, but he's churning it out of any metal he can get his hands on. He doesn't appear to be forging anything, so he's literally just like getting scrap metal. He might be making it hot and pounding it into a slightly different shape, but he's not melting it. He's not casting anything. So yeah, you're heading over.
Yeah.
This is rather large, baity individual. You don't notice any hair. He's got sort of a flat cap on. They're facing away. They're holding a very, very large hammer. The fist the size of with a head the size of a baby. He's whacking something through a sheet of leather.
I think rather than approach and startle someone obviously engrossed in what they're doing with a large hammer in hand, I'll clear my throat loudly to try and get their attention. Or is there a bell of any kind nearby, or anything that will rattle loudly enough to get someone's attention?
As you look around, you do notice there's a pair of glass bottles that are like hanging like a wind chime, sort of thing. They've clearly had the necks drilled through, and they're hanging on a sort of assemblage. It looks like it's made mainly of like paper clips. And just little bits of wire and things. But yeah, you could probably rattle those together. It might even be their purpose.
Yeah, we'll give that a go. See if we can get this individual's attention.
You're just gonna like nudge them as you walk in, or like bash them with your shoulder, or whatever.
Give them a tap on the way in.
Yeah, you give them a tap. But, they clatter against each other a bit. It's one of those things of you're aware that an intact glass bottle is not easy to come by exactly. So you're really glad they don't break. But yeah, they clatter together a fair bit, and a little Weasley bloke comes out from behind the fire that's standing there for them to melt this stuff, or at least soften it up. Little Weasley dude, and he is dressed head to toe in like a patchwork leather suit, for want of a better word. It's essentially like a leather tuxedo. It's covered with little studs, and like it's got bolts through it, screws and things. It's weird looking, but it's showing off all the techniques this bloke can clearly pull off. And it's got like a shoulder pad on one side, and a proper like removable leather pauldron on the other, and it's got folded out lapels, and one's curved and the other's pinned back flat, and it's clearly a showpiece. Go like, look at all the shit we can do. And it's dyed a variety of different colours, and it looks alright. It looks pretty cool in a way if you're really into leatherwork. And the little Weasley dude comes out and is like, what can we do to help you? What would you want?
Hi there. The name's Zeke. I'll extend a hand.
Oh, how lovely! He's stretching out a hand, and you notice he's also wearing a leather glove, which has metal fingernails on.
Oh, nice. As I shake his hand, I would like to make a strength check.
Are you going to man off at this person?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would say make that as a strength intimidate.
Okay. Strength intimidate.
Because we all know that's what this is.
13.
Oh, I love it when I roll dice. I was going to make this guy lose in the most heinous way possible because it would be funny, but he's crit, so this Weasley little fella, completely to your own surprise, because you thought you were doing really well, he just stands there and takes it for a few moments and then just digs the fingernails in and crushes your hand. You know, it hurts. It hurts a lot. Yeah, fuck it, why not? You take 4 points of damage. You know, when his hand comes away, you realise he's left 3 fingernails in your hand. And he's just like, oh damn. And he puts his hand in his pocket and he comes out and he's got the fingernails back on again.
As I sort of stand there pulling these shards of metal out of my hand away, like, it's nice to meet you.
Yes,
Completely
it is.
ignoring that's just gone down. I'm looking for something that will go under a shirt if one were to not be stabbed.
Something would get under a shirt if they didn't want to be stabbed. Well, I think you can buy plenty of that over at Bungo's. But if we're talking of armor, I'm sure Erica here can knock you up something. And at this point, you turn around and you notice that the hulking thing that was knocking these studs through this massive sheet of thick leather is in fact a rather attractive lady who just happens to be built like a dump truck. You know, her shoulders are as wide or wider than yours. Her arms are like your hips. She is huge. She put some post-gens to shame. But she's gorgeous. And she looks up and she's like, "Oh, is that right, love? Oh, what have you been eating?" And at this point, you know, she pulls some wax stoppers out of her ears, puts them down. She's like, "Oh, so what have you been eating, Nigel? Fuck off. Go on. You know, he's good for showing off, but well, he's good at showing off. Shall we just put it there? So, what can we do for you, love?"
I'm looking for a piece of armor for ideally sort of neck to belt line. Just something nice and slim, not easy to spot under a coat or a shirt, if you know what I mean.
Are you sure, darling? Because most of the gentlemen we come across, they prefer they prefer their precautions to extend below the waistline, if you understand. I mean, if I don't want to be crude, but if you think you've got a cock of steel, that's fine. But most fellows they prefer a little bit more surety than that. You know. And she holds up something that's similar to what you're sort of thinking, but it's made of a really decent thickness of leather, and it's covered in like metal studs and poppers and things. Basically, it's a studded leather vest. And you notice on the front and the back there is a sort of there's a sort of a U-shaped protrusion in the centre mass that would cover, it would cover one sort of groin region from the front and back. It doesn't join underneath. Apparently, that's an optional extra. But it saves one from a potentially unpleasant, bladed kick up the arse, or you might even pad the effects of a knee to the nuts.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that would do me nice.
Like, well, I can't say they come cheap, dear. I mean, what's your budget?
You just sort of look around, think for a moment, and then go, well, I've got to hand, to tack, and these, and he sort of pulls out the well-worn pistol that he picked up in the
Back at the Bleed
bar.
Yeah.
Back at the Bleed. The golden pocket watch's face, and the bungo's token.
Well, I'll have to talk to Nigel, love, but I'm sure we can do something. I'm sure we can do something with that. Go and grab yourself something to eat, and we'll see what we can do. She goes in the back and starts talking nicely to Nigel.
I'll head back outside then for a moment or two.
On your way out, you notice there's a little girl sitting just inside the little sort of fenced off area outside the front of the building, who is the dead spit of a perfect combination of Nigel and Erica. So it's safe to say she's of a more human proportion. She's also wearing what frankly is too much leather on a child, but
any amount of leather then.
Yeah, there seems to be a certain motif running through these leather workers of basically if it's not leather they don't wear it. But she's wearing what's the best approximation of a leather gingham dress, just to show off braiding skills. It may or may not be a number of leather aprons sewed together, but who knows? And she's playing hopscotch, which is adorable, but troubling when you see someone in a leather dress playing hopscotch. It's just weird, and it doesn't feel quite right. Outside of like a Marilyn Manson video or something, which naturally you have no idea what that is. Still, she has a. Mum said you should get some food, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And she takes you by the hand. This is where we go, and she leads you like next door. And there's a dude who's he's clearly selling something that's been made into sausage. It says sausage. You don't know it says sausage because you can't read, but it's a word that vaguely approximates to sausage. It's not spelt correctly or phonetically. It's just wrong. It may be another language. You wouldn't know. But yes, do the ladies follow this excursion, or are you heading off elsewhere? Now you have an entire town to roam through and ask about Bill, gather information, buy things. Fuck it, you could just go shopping again if you really want. I mean, we can have 2 episodes of shopping. That's always riveting. But yeah.
I think I'm going to head up towards the pub and see if I can discreetly stake out who's going in and who is going out. So I think we ended up in an alley when we left.
Yeah, there is an alleyway either side.
Yeah, so I'm going to hide out in there, trying not to look too dodgy, but to kind of work out who is actually going in.
Okay, yeah. So you're heading off towards the bleed. You're gonna go and stand ominously in an alleyway. What's Anita doing?
I'm going to head to the bleed as well, but to go in to have a word with Jim and Jimmy.
Okay. So, that's always going to work out well. So you have your. To recap the full absurdity of this, you have your heavily armed large fellow off shopping for what he seems to be armoured leather lingerie. You have your deaf woman standing on lookout, where she can't hear anyone signalling from inside, or if there's a fight going on. And we have our fragile intellectual going to have a chat in the dangerous place with the important people. Fair enough. Alone. So yeah.
She knows them.
She does know them. That's fine. I
She
just
might not
thought
remember how she knows them, but she knows them.
I just thought I would point this out. So yeah, you head on inside. The young girl hands Zeke this boiled sausage treat. It seems to be a large coiled sausage with something that may once have been a stick rammed into it. It smells better than the street meat, maybe.
Okay. I will thank her and look at the chap behind the countertop and sort of give him a nod and say, so you anything to do with next door then?
Yeah, next door. Yeah. Nigel's my brother.
Ah, you can see the family resemblance. Good lad that Nige.
He's a bit of a tosser. And what's with all the leather? Sorry, love. I know it's your mum and dad, but you've got to admit it's a bit weird. He hands her one of these sausages as well. She tucks in with gusto. She's like, yeah. Thanks, Uncle Steve. Oh, no. Take this quick. And at this point, he notices you have like 40 kebab skewers sticking out your bag. What's that? What's that in your bag? Have you been bringing down outside food?
It's rations for the road, isn't it?
Are you sure? Because we could probably do with some more meat. The supplies are.
I'll like unsling my pack and see what Jerry hasn't eaten before like committing to anything.
I'm pretty sure we stated how much meat there was before, but I didn't write it down. So
I believe it was 20 skewers.
Okay, it was 20 skewers. So yeah, okay. D12. There are 11 skewers left. There are 11 whole skewers left. There are 9 that have been nibbled and or gnawed on. So yeah, there are 9 that basically most people would kind of turn their noses up at.
Okay.
The guy sees these and goes like, "You're not going to eat those, are you?" So I could get rid of those for you. We could. I've got places where I can chuck them wide. It wouldn't attract vermin. It'd be fine. I can do that for you.
Sounds pretty alright to me. But as I sort of take out the fistful that are part Nord, I'll sort of go. So I'm fairly new in town. Don't suppose you've know anything about a chap named Bill? I think his name was.
Oh, Big Bill.
Fella.
Yeah, everyone knows Bill. Big Bill.
Yeah. And sort of with them still in hand, not quite handed them over yet. Go. Don't suppose you know where he likes to spend his days. I've been told I might need to have a word with him about some business opportunities I've come looking for.
Nah, couldn't tell you where Bill is. He moves around a lot. He does. He's a hard fellow to pin down. He's always on his feet. If you get it. But yeah, he's a hard fellow to pin down. He's no one to mess with.
I'll sort of reach in and pull out like 3 of these whole unnibbled skewers as well. And go, well, it's a shame that I guess if you don't know too much, there's not much for it. And then make to put them back in my bag.
Roll and manipulate. Come on.
Okay.
There's only so long you can string this along without rolling a dice at me.
That is that charisma or intelligence? Because either way, it's pretty terrible. It's either a 6 or a 5.
I'll go with charisma.
Yeah, 6.
Okay, yeah. He doesn't look worried. He's like, well, no, I'm saying he tends to be in the better places. He likes it up at the Blue, I hear. He spends a lot of time up there recent.
Okay. I'll hand him the part Nord ones and maybe like 1 whole one.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. I'll get rid of these for you. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you will. At that. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah. Just go and sit down there with the girl. She'll Erica will come and give you a shout when your stuff's ready. And at this point, you, as you're sitting down and turning away, he just pushes all of the meat, like the gnawed meat and the untouched meat, just into the grinder, like to his side, like next to the sausage machine. He throws the sticks onto the fire underneath the little the cauldron where he boils the sausages. He's like, yeah. He's like, sucker. Everyone could have told him that. Oh, well, that saves me a few. Yeah, back to the ladies. Well, back to Anita, in fact. So, in fact, actually, let's include everyone. Let's include both the ladies for a moment. Timmy, you see Anita walk into the pub. Right, Anita. If you will, keep splitting up.
Who do I see in the pub when I walk in?
In the pub, it's fairly busy. I mean, this a place that sort of functions on like shifts, so it's very rare that anywhere's really empty. There are quieter times, but this is just around lunchtime, so everyone who's decided to close up shop and go for lunch is at a pub, and this is the nicest one. So yeah, I mean it's not heaving like it was in the evening, but there's a good sort of 20-30 people around. Sitting down, eating, some of them hanging around outside, enjoying chemical refreshments of some kind. One standing there with a little tube of something that's vaguely glowing. knocking it back. You hear him gargling, and then he breathes out a big cloud of something. His mate's like, bloody hell, mate, steady on. You don't want to do that much. The reason they call them death sticks, you dick. Apparently that's how they take them down here. But yeah. So yeah, you wander in. Yeah. It's not Jimmy at the bar at the moment. It's someone else you haven't met yet. But Jim's still down the other end, soldiering on like the absolute legend he is. He's got a pint in one hand and a half pint in the other. A pipe sticking out one side of his mouth.
Gonna wander up to him and
hello.
Watcher. How's things?
All right. It's always a bit quiet middle of the day, but things will pick up in the evening.
I'm sure they will.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Have you heard anything about what happened the other night at all? Has anything more happened that you know of?
You'll have to refresh my memory.
With the whole Billy and debt situation.
Oh,
lovely grandson.
Yeah, I thought I told you. Yeah, we got the debt sorted out, more or less. I came in and bailed the little idiot out. Now he owes me. But
that's true.
Family's family.
They
I'll give
are.
him a few weeks.
It's only fair.
Yeah. But you never know. If he fucks up, a few months, we'll be coming down to go to gyms. Just see it. Should open a chain. Anyway.
It'll be good.
Well, it sounds like a lot of work.
It probably is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to stay this side of the bar. It's more fun that way.
I just know. And he reaches over the bar at that point and taps out his pipe over the edge of the bar so it lands on the bar staff's side. Yeah, the oh fuck, what the hell's going on here? Sorry, I have chat superimposing itself over the map on the overlay. That was odd. Right, so yeah, Jim is standing there so apart from that, we've got the debt. Bill's been paid. Paying bills. Never thought I'd do that again. So you're here for a reason. What is it? Let's not pussyfoot around it.
Well, I wanted to catch up with the family first, but I may have some business with Bill. I just need to locate him.
Well, yeah. He likes to drop by most days.
Yeah.
Sort of later on. He makes a habit of making sure it's when Jimmy's on. Remind him who's boss, all that sort of silly thing.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I try not to be here.
No, that's fair enough.
We don't need Billy knowing who's got money.
No, definitely not.
Best little piggy's got an appetite.
What can you tell me about him? Because all I know is he likes to lend money and take it back with rather a lot of interest.
Well, yeah, that's basically it. That's his most of his sort of shtick. He runs protection in the town. Does the old loaning. Yeah, he's Al's legs. He's Al's eyes. He's Al's ears. There are a few of them, but Bill's the nephew. He's favoured.
You any idea where he holds up when he's not around here?
Well, he normally goes up the hill. That's where that's where he lives.
Fair
But
enough.
you know, he's a young lad. It's not unheard of for him to, you know, spend a night somewhere.
Does he have a favourite by any chance?
Who will ever take him?
I'm guessing he's got his fingers in a few pies around here.
That's the way to put it. Yeah, you know, I reckon it's pretty much whoever owes him the most, he goes there. You know, throws his weight around a bit.
There's a lot of that.
No, there is. But you know, he's not the best customer. Yeah.
I can imagine.
You know, there's a history of damages.
Again, doesn't surprise me.
So, this business you're looking to go into with Bill, it's not friendly, I take it.
Probably not. It depends how he takes it.
Well, let's frame it like this. If Bill were to go on holiday, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
If he were to, well, let's say, I know a few. If he were to run away to sea, there aren't many who'd cry. I mean, yeah, Al would be pissed off, but what's he gonna do? He'd have lost his nephew. Makes him look weak. I like that. I think a fair few would.
Good to know.
Yeah. So if someone was to make it known to the debtors of the town that they were in the business of making sure that Bill went on holiday, they might be able to get a bit of support.
I shall bear that in mind.
But naturally I didn't say anything.
Of course not. No.
In fact, I don't even recall seeing you here tonight. So fuck off.
Fair enough. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it is.
I shall see you at some point.
He hands you the half pint.
Cheers.
No
She
hard.
downs
So.
it.
Yeah.
None at all. She'll take a sip and then she'll down it.
It's nice. It's definitely the Harveys. Quite old by now.
Yeah. It's still
quite palatable. Yes. But yes. Anyway, you've been instructed to fuck off by the voice of the omnipotent narrator. So
she puts the half pint glass down and waves over her shoulder as she walks out.
good. So yeah, you're back out in the street with Timmy.
Have I seen anyone that I recognise by this point?
You've seen a great number of the people who were there last night, coming in and grabbing something to eat, grabbing a drink, coming back out, having a smoke. Just sort of general traffic in and out. You see some sort of larger, tougher people, who are wearing the same sort of gear as the big stupid one who couldn't use a gun earlier on. But they're not rare around here. You've seen them all over town. It's a common look, big, stupid, armed. But no one in particular. Yeah, I think you see the potentially homicidal guy who was looking for that big northern bastard. As he so succinctly put it, while he was beating one of his mates. But no, you don't. It would be hard for you to see anyone you particularly picked out, being that all the people you saw with Billy are dead, apart from his pallbearers, sort of thing.
Okay. Right. I suppose we ought to go and find Zeke then, really.
Question is, did you guys leave Zeke when he wandered off in the market, or did you watch him go into the leatherworkers and then go to the pub?
I think we watched him going to the leatherworkers and decided we wanted none of that.
Okay.
Anita would have also told Timmy everything she got told by Jimmy.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, he didn't get told an awful lot, so yeah. Well, fair enough. Yeah. It's alright, yeah, you
We do know that Bill's coming back, though.
Oh yeah. Well, Bill works protection and loan sharking in the town. He's always going to come back. But yeah, you assume head back to Erica's Leathercrafts then. Right, we're back with Zeke, enjoying a large coiled sausage. Is Jerry having some sausage? What's Jerry doing? Yeah. You're sitting in a confined space filled with the scent of meat with a young child and a squirrel.
I'm pretty sure, depending on how gnawed some of those would be, Jerry would just be passed out, like in the bag, or like having
just to drill down off that. Do you mean passed out or asleep?
As in overeating himself and gone to.
Okay, he's having meat sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like gorged himself to the point of passing out. Like, Jesus God. One head alive, one head dead. But no, he's just.
I think if he's amiable to, there would be sausage on offer for him as well. Sort of maybe as a to try and get on this small child's good side, so maybe she puts in a good word for me when we go back and I get a discount. Just sort of display this display the pet scuzzle for her to hopefully pet without injury.
Okay, yeah. So you rip off the end of the sausage and leave it on the table next to your open bag, and after sort of 15 minutes of snoring coming from the bag, you start to hear snuffling. Yeah. Easily twice as much snuffling as one would expect from a one-headed squirrel, and it only takes a few moments between wakefulness for Jerry to climb out the bag and snare this sausage. He goes to town on this piece of sausage. The heads fight a bit over it. The nastier, more mad-eyed one gets more, and the chilled out one that lets you pet it gets less. But that's how it tends to work out. So you're not too worried. And strangely, the angry head takes a liking to the small child, whereas the laid back head just falls asleep again. So it sort of one side of the body just sort of goes limp, and the other side sort of craning towards this child. And she feeds it a little bit of her food and gives it a stroke. It looks up and appreciatively at her. It's probably the first time you've heard Angry Jerry making a noise that wasn't intended to, scare someone away before being bitten, or just a straight outright threat. But Angry Jerry seems to like the smell of the leather and deeply enjoys the sausage. And little girl's like, I like him. How much is he worth? Can we buy him?
No, I'm afraid this is my buddy. We're looking for his brother right now. His brother went missing a little while ago, and I've promised him that we'll find him again.
Oh. Do you know where there are more?
This little guy's from quite a ways north of here. Back to we never defined a starting point, did we? We just said in the north.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure there are some not too far out of here. I would assume. Anyway, there are a lot of trees, or a lot
of trees. Like
a lot of wood.
what? You mean like a forest?
Yeah.
There are forests where you're from. Wow.
There's a lot of things different up there to down here.
Is that why you talk funny?
I suppose so, isn't it?
Is everyone as tall as you where you're from? Says this small child. Everyone where you come from is tall and talks funny and has a squirrel.
Well, no, this squirrel's special, isn't he? He likes me, and he seems to have taken a liking to you. But there are some people with them up there.
Oh. I wish I could go there. I like him. I think I would have lots of scuzzles. I think they would all be my friends.
I'm pretty sure they would. Maybe when you get big, you can go with your mum and dad to see what's up there.
Mum and Dad don't want to leave. Could I go with you? You could take me up north and I could get a scuzzle.
Well, me and Jerry here are down looking for his brother. So it'll be a while before we head back up there.
But maybe his brother ran away up north to home. And you said it's nice there. You said there was forests. Forests are good. I've heard about them. Daddy told me about forests. He said they were full of trees and shit.
That they are. Your dad seems to know his stuff about forests.
Oh.
Zika's probably never seen a forest. This is just as you do with small children, coming up with it on the spot.
So you're lying to a small child. Okay. Fine. Yeah. You pass like the next 45 minutes like this child pestering you to like take her away from her boring home, up into the wondrous, beautiful north that you haven't mentioned any of the horrifying mutants, or the fact you've never seen a forest apparently. And she's now got this view of the north as this like wonderful enchanted glade, full of friendly scuzzles, and trees, and fruit and berries and unicorns and shit. You've planted the seed of what will probably be her running away from home. Like getting enslaved or something. So, congratulations. But yeah, Erica comes in. Eventually, she's like, "Everything's ready for you, dear. Come on. We need to do a fitting."
Yeah, all right. And I'll follow her back through to the tannery.
Okay. Jerry hops up and climbs in your pocket. She brings the bag. Like, she's not getting it back in the bag. Fuck the bag. The little girl's just like, "Oh, I was having fun. We were talking about the north." Uncle Steve's just like, "She's talking. Yes." And you wander back into the tannery, and before you is a really naff, flimsy looking piece of leather with like large rough bits of metal like bolted to it. It will go under clothes. It probably helps that you have a heavy coat. It's nowhere near as nice as the thing she showed you, but you did show her how much money you had. She's like, well, this is the best we could do for you, dear, with the amount you had. You know, we had to scrimp a bit. So these are the offcuts, but if you look, it's all good stuff. You know.
So you go the once over and try and hide the look of disappointment. But then go, yeah, it seems like it'll do the job, I suppose.
And she drapes it over. At this point, you notice it's actually really heavy. She goes, "Oh, just fucking with you, darling." And she pulls it off, and it's almost like shoe leather, like thickness. This stuff, it's like soft and floppy. She just pulls it off like a sheet, and underneath it is something that you're pretty sure it's actually the thing she showed you earlier. Like, oh, don't worry. She pulls it off, and yeah, you're wearing a fairly nice leather. I mean, it doesn't fit you. I mean, the best will in the world, it doesn't fit. There are big gaps at the sides. You know, this is really a front and back bib sort of arrangement. But, you know, she was making it for someone, you know, average sized. And you're not.
Fair enough.
You know, it's... You know, she's clearly added extra panels, but, you know, there comes a point where you just put a belt across it and tell them to fuck off. Especially if you know you're working on the cheap. So yeah, it's a nice enough sort of leather vest thing going on. You know, it sort of goes over like baseball pads, so it's a front and a back with sort of a soft sort of hinge at the top, and some straps to hold it on the sides. She goes, oh, well, you know, it's not quite finished, really, to the standards I'd like, but you know, you showed us what you had, and I tried to make it fit the budget, you know.
Well, that's
and also,
thank you.
Also, you were nice to the girl, you know. And I hear I hear Steve gave you a bit of a rough deal, so you know he gave you credit on that. So there you are. You know, I hope you think of us again if you need anything else, or if you need repairs. Just pop back anytime, darling.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind.
And just as you sort of turn to go and put your coat back on and step out, she grabs you by the sleeve and says, "But if you fucking think you're taking my girl anywhere, let alone the fucking north, I mean out of town, I mean out of my fucking yard, I will skin you and sell you."
There's no danger of that. No need to worry.
You may think Nigel's a prick. I will make you into a coat and wear you to your funeral. Are we clear?
Crystal.
Good.
Not that he knows what crystal. Would there be any crystal glasses?
Some crystals. There'd be some crystals around.
True.
You know. Yeah. You know. Don't fuck with mummy. And off you go. She's all smiles and sunshine again, and the little girl's playing hopscotch out the front. But yeah, you are aware that she has a hammer with a head the size of a baby. Off you go into town.
Try and find the other two.
Yeah. There. Where are the other two? Are you waiting outside? Are you?
Yeah, I guess we would have got back by now. So yeah.
So there we are, all together, freshly armed with information and and girded with new armor, ready for the challenges of next session, which will have to be in 2 weeks' time now. Yeah, in 2 weeks' time, as we have holidays and things with families and frolicking in the sun. So, unfortunately, that will be the end of the session. I'll have a lot of notes to write up. Bugger. So yeah, how do we do this? I can't remember. It's been so long. So yeah, that was great, guys. We will have to discover what the hell's going on next time, because apparently we can spend 2 sessions shopping. But I let it flow where it goes. So yes, I was the world, and apparently more little girls than usual today. I'm Thirsty. You can find me on Twitter, Thirsty_BTP. You can find me on bloodthirstypeppers.co.uk. You can find me here on Mondays and most Fridays, and almost perpetually on Twitter shouting something or other. So yeah, Spanners, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at spanners_BTP and other such boring places as my normal boring teaching sites, which actually are getting very exciting. And here, Mondays in 2 weeks. I think that's about it at the minute. Yeah, life. More exciting stuff over the summer, though.
Yeah. Okay, Lilth.
Okay, you can find me on Twitter at Lils21. Monday nights here, and Saturday night on Kit Battlebeard's channel on Twitch, playing. I can't remember the name of the campaign. That's really bad of me. There you go. And that's at 9 PM on BST. And at some point I will remember the name.
Okay. And Ivor.
You can find me on Twitter at Ivor_DNABC. Other than that, you can find me here on a Monday night, but in the nebulous north somewhere is generally where I hang out.
And there's a Twitter now, isn't there? You have Twitter now, do you not?
Yes, Ivor_DNABC.
Ooh. SAI. It's always a bit, branching out into new social media. Ooh. Bizarre. Anyway, yeah, so, those of you who are still watching, because that was a bit of a meandering end, thank you for doing so, and join us next time in 2 weeks. I think we said, yes, in 2 weeks. Look how organised I am. For more meandering, shopping, blackmailing, sausage eating, liaisons with weird people and extended conversations and threatening children and dismemberment and leather workers. So that's it from us, I think. Unless anyone has anything else to shout. Nope. Okay, so that's it for us. Ta-ra. See you next time. And there we are, outro slide. It's nearly done. We're nearly gone. Thanks a lot for that, guys. That was odd. And as always, I'm so glad I remembered to get that kid to slip in the information about the rest of the shipmates being missing.
That was amazing. I was like, what? Who?
Yeah.
How do you know this, child?
Well, it's a small community. Anyway, so, yeah, that's that. Thank you for watching, listening, playing, everything. Pow.